Hello, and welcome to Zack's Hobby Nook. Today I want to talk about the Star Trek Fasa miniatures that came out. I'm a big Star Trek fan, so what I've done is Fasa did was they came out with a game, and it was Starfleet Battles. And this was I've never really played the game. It was $25 when it came out, but the game looked really fun, but I'm into the technology and the ships. So as a Star Trek fan, the only way you could get more ships than the Enterprise, Klingon, or Romulan bird of prey was to buy these miniatures. Let's start just by showing you the game. This is the box. And the box actually came with little dice, a grid that your ships go on, and the battle manual. And the battle manual was very intricate. You had your directions, which nowadays I would have to put my glasses on to read this because it's very small print. But they show a little bit about the different ships, the maneuvers they could do, which is pretty cool. And you see this here is a scout ship, Federation scout ship. And as you go further on, you have the tactical of the different ships that you could get for the game. And a little more detail. Like I said, I've not played the game. It looked like fun, but I'm more into the ships. So the only way to get some of those ships were, like I said, to get the Fasa. These are really cool. They were started out, and some were actually plastic, like the Enterprise. You can see the actual plastic, very highly detailed for such a small little piece. And some were lead. And the interesting thing about lead is nowadays, they found out lead's not very good for you. You have no natural way to get rid of it. But back then, you see all the flashing and stuff on there. We actually had to trim that with a knife, and you get that little, you get like a little black on your fingers, and you get a taste in your mouth, and that it was, we didn't know any better. I mean, they had lead in our gasoline when we were younger, so. But you can see the, anyways, back to the game. The games came with little stands, and they'd fit on the little stands once you glued the ship together. And they were sort of keyed so you could put them on straight. They came with little guides that were sort of really unique. Oh, there we go. So, and you see the size of them. I mean, the saucer is only about 1.5 inches in diameter, so they're pretty small. But like I said, the detail is really nice, and I have a few other ones I'll show you. So those are, of course, the base from the TVs that came with that, and a few other extra, but they came with all sorts of different ships you could pick up. And the neat thing was, like a Federation tug, you couldn't get a tug as a model kit, but you could certainly get it as this. And it was sort of neat. This one is glows in the dark. And then here is a scout. It has one nacelle, and that also glows in the dark. Another unique feature they did too was, this is a cruiser, of course, an Enterprise. Looks like the Enterprise, excuse me. And it's cloaked. It's all clear. So they really, it was sort of neat how they did some of these. And they had a full series you could get later on. And then here are some of the ships. You can see the sizes vary. And what's interesting too is the some of these ships, like this Enterprise here, is lead. It actually weighs probably about 8 ounces or more. It has a lot of weight, and you can see the engine's sort of bent. Being made of lead, lead's a very soft metal, so it had trouble holding itself up. And actually my paint's chipped from bending the engine back and forth to get it back into position. Now the clear ones, like this is a Dreadnought, it's 3 nacelles on it. Again, you couldn't buy this as a model kit, so the only way you can really get the ship is to custom build your own or to pick them up like this. And these are nice. They were reasonably priced, $7 to $15 or something like that. And you could have a lot of them in a shelf, and it didn't take a lot of room. And the details were really nice. And this is a bird of prey. Look at the detail on that. And this is also lead, thus the broken gun. You know, it's very soft, so very delicate. And you ever wonder what a Klingon tug would look like? Very nicely detailed. And this thing almost weighs a pound. This is lead. Another one here that's lead. It's just reliant. You can see that it's just under its own weight. It just bent down. But they had, oh, there's a little hole there somewhere. But they had some real unique ships, like this Romulan one. Look at the size of that, the detail on it. The Romulan ones always had the bird type patterns on them. And again, this one probably weighs close to a pound, being lead. And they came up with some really unique, detailed ones. And some of these aren't painted all the way yet. I eventually will paint them. And that's a Scout fully assembled. And this one also is a glow-in-the-dark one. So, of course, I wouldn't paint it. That would sort of ruin the fun effect of it. But you can even see the line details on it. It has very nice details for something so small. Even the little radar dish. And if you really, when I really wanted to get detailed, I actually bought decals and put the decals on. I had to use a pin to place them. And I actually have the name. It's little, there's a couple of pieces that have worn off, but there's actually the name above the call letters as well. So you can get as detailed as you want on these, but you can see that they're very detailed little miniatures. So these are really fun. I have over 35 or 40 of these ships, which eventually one day I'll have them all posted. But, so I have a nice little fleet going, and I have Tholian ships, I have more Romulan ships and Klingon ships, and another fun thing with that that Fasa did for the game system was they came out with ship recognition manuals. They have a Romulan, a Federation, and a Klingon. And these were very, very detailed. They had pictures of the different ships, the specs on them. And then they even had a centerfold for the size comparison chart, which was sort of fun. So you can see the different ships, the different sizes compared to each other. So they really got very detailed. And give you the Federation one. So you could really learn a little bit about your fleet to play the game. And even some of them have stories, like this one here has a little story about it. A little history in that. And it also has the recognition on here. Let's see. Oh, and the timeline. There we go. There's the recognition. This one we got a little fancier with the silhouettes. Even has some space stations in there as well. And then the next one is the actual sort of timeline of some of the ships in that. Now these are back from the early 80s, so the only way you can get these anymore is, of course, to go online third party and pick them up. I think this cover was sort of a nice cover on this one. It was one of the ships I just showed you, the lead miniatures, but that's a cutaway of it. And we will get a few of the Romulans here. See some of those, and again, very similar to the other book, the details in that. And let's see here, let's get to the recognition. There we go. So these are sort of fun. I've had these for many years, and the miniatures themselves, like I said, I didn't play the game, but I custom made a shelf and put them all up there, and these are just fun to have. And then as time went on, Playmates came out with more ships, not some of the classic ones, but the more, the next generation and that. And then Eagle Moss has ships out now, and so I collect those as well. And those I'll end up talking eventually. I'll show them to you all and post pictures. But I just wanted to share these with you, and as time goes on, I'll share more of them with you and post pictures that you'll be able to look at them and see, because some of them are pretty unique. But I would like you to subscribe if you'd like. I'd like you to give me some feedback. Let me know what you'd like to see, or if you'd like any suggestions in the way I present anything. I'm open for feedback. Post any of your pictures of what you have. I'd like to see that as well. So with that said, I'd like to say thank you for watching again, and please subscribe, comment, like, let your friends know if they're into this, into the Star Trek as well, or Marvel or DC. I have a little bit of everything. So but thank you again for watching, and see you again next week.